Now the last table we need to create here is the table which will join all these records from a different tables together. And this kind of table is called a joint table. The name of our table will be quantities. And we will need 4 fields for this one. Now, the first field will be shoe ID, because the first table we're going to be referring to will be the shoes table. The data type has to be exactly the same as the ID, the primary key ID of the field we are referring to in a specific table. So in the shoes table, the ID was of the integer data type, so we have to choose exactly the same type. If you defined any length values, they have to match again to the field in the other table. Now we want this field to be the primary key. Then we will create another one which will refer to the colors. So color ID. As you may remember, the colors table, the unique identifier was of the tiny integer data type. And again, we want this field to be also our primary key. As you can see, I'm creating multiple primary keys. And I'm going to explain why I'm doing this in just a minute. So next one will be size ID, because we will be referring to the sizes table. And this one was also of the tiny integer data type. And the last field in this table will be quantity, so QTY. And for this one, we want to choose the integer. Now, if we scroll to the right, we want to make our size ID also the unique identifier to be part of our primary key. Now that we are ready, we also need to change the storage engine to INODB. And now we can click on the Save button. So the new table quantities has been created. Now, as you can see here in the indexes table, you can see that we've got primary key created of the 3 different fields. Now what it does, if let's say we are adding one record to the shoes table, and this record has the size of, let's say one pair of shoes has the size of 10, has the make of, it's a make of Adidas, let's say, and it has white color, the shoes got white color. Then this record is also added to this table, and we also specify how many of them do we have. Let's say we've got 10 pairs. Then the same record from the shoes table is added here again, but this time it's going to be added with a different color or different make or different size. And now, one very important thing to know about this creating actually primary key on multiple fields is that we cannot create a duplicate record, which means we won't be able to add another record which has, let's say, shoe ID, the record of the shoe ID 1, the color 1, and the size 1. The database simply won't allow us to create a duplicate by having primary key created on these 3 fields. Now we will be able to update the quantity, but we won't be able to add exactly same record again to this table. And that's very good, because if you have a look at this, why would we want to do it? Why would we want to add another record like this? If we already have this kind of pair of shoes created with this color and with this size, we only want to change the quantity eventually, nothing else. So this way, we are avoiding creating duplicate records, creating kind of mess in our database. So that really restricts the end user from adding unnecessary record to the table. So now that we have our tables ready, in the next video, we'll create the relationships. First of all, we're going to create the foreign keys and then relationships between those tables.